So the Kratos Flywheel review.
It's freaking hamstrings, bro.
Is this a specialty machine?
This is for sure a specialty machine. Yes.
So yeah. So so the Kratos Flywheel, I've had this since a little bit before Home Gym Con, and it took me quite a while to like figure out. I had to like learn kind of the vocabulary and figure out what to say and implement into my training. And yeah, so this one I've been using it a while, but it just took a while, and I do really love it. It's a very solid piece of equipment that I think with more education and more people getting their hands on these types of things, more people will want flywheels. I also think they're kind of pricey right now, and hopefully in the future, as more people start using them and buying them, the price comes down a little bit. But in general, I've been using this in kind of a sporadic way, but I find myself using it just about every day. Or every workout, either as like a warm-up or a finisher, or like in between. I find a way to superset with it. I feel like it helps complete the rest of my gym. I think most people still don't really know what flywheel training is. So I'm gonna quickly just go over that before I talk about the rest of the view. But the biggest difference is, rather than like moving weight up and down, you are using a flywheel to generate resistance through inertia. So really what it comes down to is, or how hard the workout is basically on you. So the harder or faster you push, the more resistance you face. And also with the more resistance that you push, the more you have to like control it. So flywheel training engages both concentric and eccentric phases. I know I'm using big words now, but the concentric phase occurs when you are like pushing or exerting the force. So more traditional like weightlifting movements or pushing. And then the eccentric is really, from my understanding and the way I like feel it when I'm using it, is like controlling the flywheel as it continues to spin. So if you push it really hard, there's force exerted, there's a work, like that's part of the workout, but it also spins harder and you have to like control it. It's kind of like when you bench press and you like go down as slowly as possible. What do you call that?
Negatives.
Yeah, it's kind of like negatives, but it is different.
Yeah. I think the easiest example I could come is when I was at your place and like a bicep curl. So, you yank it up as hard as you can, and it's going to try to pull you down as hard as you can. So you're fighting against it on that eccentric on the way down.
Right. So let's move on to like it's how I use it, and just like talk about its overall versatility. So I kind of compare it to the versatility of like a single column trainer, like the ones that Bells of Steel offers. So you can raise it to a bunch of different levels and then do a number of different movements. You can change up the resistance rather than changing weights, but by actually just changing out how quickly you move it. So there are really like, with with any functional trainer or a single column, there's like, in your imagination is what you can do with it. And this is relatively similar. There are quite a bit of like sport specific movements that you can do to really master certain strengths that you need for a certain sport. I'm a 36-year-old man who's just trying to stay in shape. I wouldn't say stay in shape, continue to get in better shape. But I don't necessarily need to do certain athletic movements anymore. So I keep it simple. I honestly use it kind of like I would use a single column trainer, just in a little bit of a different way, because you can do certain things that you can't do on a single column trainer and vice versa. But with that said, I do stuff that you've already heard of. So like I do the squats. It's really similar to like a belt squat. What?
Okay. That's what I'm sitting here. That one has to be the worst. Like knowing what that feels like, squats sounds horrible on this thing.
It's the worst, but it's also my favorite. Because, so it's, I was going to kind of explain that later, but so like there's certain movements where there's more bracing and there's others where there is, it's more about the explosive, or there's certain movements where that initial push can be stronger than like if you're doing a single arm row. So, but yes, I think the squats can be an absolute burner. Like burn your legs more than anything else in your gym. So I do squats, lateral raises. Again, like you can't generate as much force, but it gives a totally different feel than just like lifting weights. Deadlifts and RDLs, those are also ones that you can really just like go after it. Face pulls. So if you think about face pulls, I mean, the biggest difference is like the control of it back. So it's totally different than doing a regular face pull, where you can just kind of slam it back on a single column trainer. Lat pull downs, bicep curls, those are cool as well. And then tricep extensions. So I'm not doing any of the like rotational lunge, twist, and raise type stuff. But Kratos does have a pretty good library of just like some movements that you can do that like that. Another way that I enjoy using it is I have quite a bit of attachments that I've kind of collected on over the years, and I use it on my functional trainer and lat pull down. I like using them on this as well. So I have mag grips. I use the belt fed, accessory strap, prime handles. And then, as I mentioned, it's great for finishers, warm-ups, and supersets. I don't think I would ever just do a 100% dedicated flywheel workout, but I know that some people would. So, I mean, in general, like I said earlier, this is a nice complement to everything else I have in the gym. All right. More product specific. So one of the biggest differences between this flywheel system, the Kratos, is the vertical and horizontal resistance all within one unit. So if you think about like the eccentric options, which are also awesome, and other flywheel systems, I don't think there's any that combine both. So it's either the horizontal or it's either the vertical that you're like attaching to a post. This is, you can rotate both of them within like 30 seconds from one to the other. So this is not a cheap unit, but it is at a lower cost than when you have to combine the separate units of other brands to kind of get this vertical and horizontal resistance. I think we've kind of talked about the vertical resistance mimics traditional weightlifting movements, and then also how the horizontal aspect feature focuses more on the core and then the functional strength. So more on like specific movements and athletic performance. So the vertical, so it the point is it provides a variety of workouts as well. Moving on to the overall build quality and design, it's just a very well put together piece. The overall build quality is solid. It includes powder coat where it needs to be powder coated, and should look good for a long time. It should never rust or anything like that. It is very smooth, very scratch resistant. The platform is a stained CNC milled birch base. Just looks good, easy to grip with your shoes. There's no slippage. In general, it's just a well thought out design. And the best part of it is probably how easy it is to adjust just from vertical to horizontal. User experience. So, I realize that most of the people I'm talking to with this review have very minimal or no experience with a flywheel. I think a big question is like, what's the learning curve? It's pretty easy. If you have general lifting experience, A lot of it just takes some trial and error. But in general, it's very straightforward. You'll definitely have to like tinker with certain like height settings. So it takes some time to like figure out what height the strap should be for certain lifts or movements, I should say. I think it takes a little bit of patience at first, but honestly, within like by the end of a certain workout, you'll have it kind of nailed down forever. I personally don't write down the numbers, but it would be helpful if you like wrote down certain movements. There's like a numbered strap that you can kind of figure out what's best for each. I mentioned the quick setup changes. You can easily change the height and strap length within 30 seconds or so. One thing that I don't think any other flywheels have is like an easy knob to get it rolling. So you have other flywheels, you have to like twist the plates, and it's not as easy as the knob that Kratos provides. The one not an issue, but sometimes the strap does get tangled, and you have to update it every so often. But it's just a quick fix. All right, cost. So I've mentioned a few times, like, not many people have gotten their hands on flywheels. So spending $3,000 or so on a system is doubtful. So I mean, I don't think a ton of people are going to until they get their hands on them. But the price breakdown is similar to like the lat pull down market. So anywhere from like Kratos has a number of different options. You can just get like a portable option. You can get something that you strap to a post, or you can get this, like what I've been talking about is kind of the premium one that includes a platform and both vertical and horizontal. Which is about $2,800. Which is like that price variance is similar to like what we were talking about earlier on the podcast. Is just like there's plate loaded options all the way to the most premium stack options. So that's kind of the price difference there. As far as price goes, I think considering the overall build quality, the versatility of the unit of just how many different things that you can do, I think it's fair. I think the price is fair. And then lastly, just some other notes. So the installation was very simple. Just kind of find a stud, mount it to the stud, and drill it in. There is a Rep 1 sensor add-on that you can do. So this was something that I never even really touched. I looked into it initially, and it was just a little bit too complicated for me and my everyday use. I do think, like, if you're a coach and you are coaching athletes and you want to be able to track their explosiveness or certain velocity of certain movements, it can be very helpful. I think it's about $400 additional for that. So that's a nice, cool add-on that you can add as well. In regards to the plates that are included, the base package includes a large and medium flywheel, which is what I have. I personally have never really thought like, oh, I need more weights or I need less weight. So I do think like this is a very good starter package. So if you were to buy it, just go with this and then add on later if you need to, or if you need a smaller plate, etc. And then lastly, in this section, I'll mention like I truly appreciate having the dedicated space and platform. So I do have like another flywheel system that is portable. So I usually I actually have it in like in a cabinet, and you can pull it out and take it out. I like that this is a dedicated spot. I find myself using it every workout, as I mentioned, and I think the biggest thing is like it's already there. It's set up. Even if I have to change it, it's not going to take long. Whereas if I have a portable option and I want to use it, I need to like mentally take it out, set it up, use it, and then put it back. And, you know, we've talked about this many times on the podcast. If there's a couple different options, I'm going to take the easier option as far as setup. It's just like human nature. I'm usually working out in the morning. It's kind of a rush. So I do appreciate having the dedicated platform. Or you can also get this unit without the platform and just have it against the wall and on the ground within a dedicated space. So that's a pro as well that you can do. But that's it. So in general, I think like I wouldn't hesitate adding it to my home gym again if I needed to, just because I know the versatility and how much I appreciate the movements and the like dynamics that it can add to a workout. But I totally understand like cost is still pretty high, and there are people that haven't tried flywheel training before. You know, if you're looking for another kind of element to your home gym, I think this works. I would say try and find some sort of flywheel system. And if you do decide to get a flywheel system, like this is one that you can definitely count on. Most specifically, if you want something with a dedicated spot and only one standalone unit. But all right.
Yeah, as you're talking, I was flicking through, looking at like, you know, posts of it and things like that. And that one in particular, from someone who hasn't used it, it's pretty intimidating looking. Like, as far as like getting into different movements and stuff like that. But seeing some clips of you using it, like, it would be a perfect finisher. I mean, for how I work out, like, you know, you want to like blast your arms, but right before you get out of there, like that tricep extension looks awesome. Bicep curl. Yeah. Heavy, price tag to foot there, but
for sure. And one more thing I just kind of thought of, but I've been thinking of is, you know how Kratos, I don't know specifics. This is just based off of like what I've seen. Kratos originally sold through Kabuki. So this was originally like the Kabuki Kratos. And
I thought it still was. I'm sorry.
I don't think so. It's not Kabuki anymore. It's just kind of like I imagine Kratos kind of went on, or like kind of like just thought Kabuki with their brand could sell it. And I totally like understand why Kabuki was so excited about it in the first place. Like it truly is a game changer and a well-made piece. And I think I'm going to take a guess and just say like the market wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember Duffin talking about it and how like flywheel training was going to like change the gym scene and stuff like that. I remember him being so excited about it when Kabuki started selling it. It's been out now for a handful of years. But yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it.